Hey guys, today we're testing Diablo 4's early access, and I'm going to start with ultra settings here. So let's open the overlay. Okay, and let's see how it goes. So I found this little town that's really close to this one spot that seems pretty demanding, and in this town we can see that we hit around 40 FPS. You can see that the temperatures are pretty high here. Well, not here, they're pretty high everywhere. In the bigger town, I've seen the Steam Deck go all the way to 90 degrees on the GPU and CPU. One of the times the game even crashed on me because of the temperatures, I think. So it's not ideal. And the fans are very loud now. Like you can just hear it from across the room. Okay, so we're getting to the spot I told you guys about. It's right over here. And you're gonna see the FPS drop. See, 32, 33, 35. Well, it's not dropping that much, maybe because we're using ultra settings and it's already pretty low FPS. But yeah, it's still getting pretty hot. It's consuming a lot of power and you won't be getting much battery life using ultra settings, even though the game looks great. Okay, so let's move on to the high preset now. I've applied the high preset here and let's switch on that overlay. We're in the same town as before and we're achieving roughly the same FPS. There doesn't seem to be a significant difference between ultra and high settings. Here we're gonna move into this empty space. We do see the FPS climb to 50, but the temperatures are still on the higher side. And the fan noise, I mean, it's as if the Steam Deck wants to launch itself into orbit or something. So yeah, we are walking around here, not much happening on screen, but most of the game is going to be like this, except for when we encounter these larger groups of enemies. And from what I've seen, they don't really make the FPS drop that much. And now we're back in this specific area, and as you can see, we're dipping to around 35 FPS. It's pretty similar to what we got with the Ultra preset. However, the difference here is that the delta between the FPS in open spaces in here is more pronounced than with Ultra settings. And that about does it for the high preset. I think it's time that we move on to something else. And yeah, I'm gonna try the medium preset now. Okay, so medium preset applied. Let me open the overlay. Okay, and here in town we're getting between 45 and 50 FPS, which is pretty good. But as we can see, GPU usage very high, CPU usage pretty high on all cores, and the temperatures are just crazy, just as before. It might not seem like the temperatures are that high, but let me tell you, the fans are blowing hard. So yeah, it's really making an effort here to keep those cores cooled down. But temperatures might not seem that high, especially if you compare them to other games where we've encountered similar readings. But the issue here with Diablo is that you're gonna always have these temperatures here. And now we are back at the challenging spot. As you can see, we still get some dips, but this time we're keeping the FPS around 40, which is perfectly acceptable. My only concern about playing with these settings revolves around the temperatures. Other than that, you are in for a fantastic gaming experience with these settings. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, low preset here, and I'm going to enable the overlay. Okay, everything else is set to defaults, and we're back in town. And as we can see, we're getting pretty close to 60 FPS here. The GPU usage is still at nearly maxed out, and the CPU usage is pretty high as well. Okay, here we have this small group of enemies. I'm just gonna skip. I want to get to that spot, see how much it dips, and we can see here that we're getting even 70 FPS. If you want to max out your FPS, go for low settings. You can see that even here, I'm stopping to get all these enemies on screen. We're still getting above 60 FPS, which is great. So let's move on to the spot. We're almost there now, and let's see how much it dips. We are at 50. Yeah, we're still getting above 50 FPS at the spot, and that's pretty good. The game doesn't look as good. You can definitely tell that the texture quality is lower and you have less detail. There's less grass. But yeah, if you want to get that 60 FPS experience, go for it. I'll start by changing the resolution at which the game is rendered, and I'm gonna go for 1024 by 640. Okay, and now we're just gonna launch BattleNet. Okay, here we are. So you're gonna see that it doesn't quite fit the screen, but don't worry, just press the launch Diablo button and everything should be fine. Now here you can see that the game actually looks good on the screen and it's not cut off or anything. I'm just gonna go through the settings. I'm not gonna explain them, so you feel free to pause the video and apply them if you like. And most of these settings are gonna be something in between high and ultra, with some medium splashed here and there. Okay, so let's get the overlay on. Here in town we're getting around 45 FPS, and let's move on to the other spot. In this open area we are getting roughly 50 FPS, which is pretty good. We have some enemies here on screen and we are at 55 FPS, which is just great. With these settings we're getting about 10 degrees less on the Steam Deck. You can't hear the fan at all. And well, in my test I've gotten 3 hours of gameplay out of it, which is pretty impressive. And we're here back at the spot, and as you can see we're getting above 40 FPS, so it's perfect. And you won't be melting your Steam Deck, which is also great if you ask me. So yeah, I think that does it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, comment, and all that. See you next time.